Good morning. Today we're going to be working with Swift Playgrounds so we can see how we can use both a class inside Playgrounds as well as we can see some of the more advanced features so we can actually test out a GUI component in Playgrounds before we do it and use it in an actual big size project in Swift, like say for example an iOS app. As you can see, I'm inside my playground here called My Swift Playground. I've got an import of UI kit and import playground support. The UI kit, of course, gives us access to the GUI components we'll be using, and playground support is so we can actually use the playground's more advanced features like loading actual GUI pieces inside it and running it. We have a quick sample class right here called OnWednesdaysWeWearPink. It's a public class, standard approach. We have some lets, aka some constant values or one-time uses of our strings. And so we have let Gretchen is of type string, and that is so fetch, because Gretchen's a fantastic place to quote. We have Regina saying, get in the car, loser, we're going shopping. And then a quote about Shakespeare, we're told you should stab Caesar. And of course, we're using some great emojis, because emojis are fun to actually work with our code. We also have a variable of type int, which is a count, and we set that to 0. And this is just a quick little class, so I did not use an init for it, which we would do if we're doing a more complex project. But for just a little quick demo code, just having the variables declared right there in the declaration section works great. We have a @object_c identifier right here. This prefix says that we can use this function within our code so we can actually reference it in an Objective-C way. We're going to use what's called the selector identifier so we can actually use that. And in order to do that, we have to have this prefix in front of the code that we're going to be running for that method. It's a public func of type pick string. It takes no parameters and returns a string. It calls the change method first, and then based on the results of change, what my count variable is assigned, we're either going to print and return Gretchen, print and return Regina, or print and return Shax. It's just a quick little way to grab a string and return it for a value that we can use to do some other work with that. We then have our change function. It's a public function. It has count as assigned to be int. It's an int using the arc for random function modulo 3, so we're guaranteed to get a number 0, 1, or 2 as that value. There's the end squiggle for the class. As you can see, the class itself is really simple. So we have just a quick little class. However, now we're going to take a look at some of the GUI components we can actually use. And so we're going to look at how we can instantiate and use a GUI inside Playgrounds and then use it in the actual environment that we can do with that. So we'll scroll down just a smidge right here, and we're going to make a sample button. And so again, since it's a simple button that we're going to create, we're just using the let keyword, and sample is of type UI button, and we call the UI button initializer, passing it a frame, which is of type CG rect. In this case, it's at 100, 100 for the X and Y coordinates for the top left corner, and then its width is 500, its height is 50. And if I click over here on this using the inspector, I can show the result of that, and we have our button right here. As you can see, nothing is inside that thing. We can also use the preview, and boom, here's also our blank button. Amazingly not helpful. So we'll go ahead and we'll create an instance of our October 3rd class, which is an instance of the OnWednesdaysWeWearPink. So we have that, an instance of that we can actually use and reference. Now we have access to these methods that we're working with on here. And we're going to make a current view, which is a UI view. It has a frame, which is a CG rect, 0, 0, and width 800 by 800. So we have now a GUI frame that we can look at. I'm going to go ahead and preview that one as well. Poink, and there's my view. Again, it's big, it's amazing, it's empty. No. So now let's go ahead and go a little bit further. And we're going to do sample button.setTitle, click here for normal. And so sample button is that button I just made right here. It's the UI button. I'm using its set title feature, which is going to assign a string to the title of that button, aka what the clickable part of it, what we're going to set as the text for that. And what state are we going to set it for? We're going to use the set of normal. And so if I click the preview on this line right here, we can see now I have a click here on my button. It's not very user-friendly, but hey, we've got it. And so that's what we've got running right now. And I'll set the background color to .magenta. Oh, it's a little bit better. Boom, I've now got a magenta button. Yes, this is amazing. I've got a click here button, and I can click on it. Well, no, I can't. It's just a preview. Let's click over right here. Let's click on this. I can click on it. Oh, no, I can't. Again, inside the Playgrounds, it's just a quick little demo feature. Or wait, there's more. So we're going to go ahead right here. We're going to use the sample button.addTarget, and this is how I can link my code of my GUI to my code that goes along with the actual logic right here. In this case, my pick string with that @object_c modifier right there. And so I'm going to add target. I'm going to pass it a reference to the object I'm linking it to, the October 3rd instance of the OnWednesdaysWeWearPink class. And the action is the hashtag selector. And this hashtag selector is how I actually specify a specific method. In this case, I'm using the instance of the class, the October 3rd, and then the method, .pickString. But notice, no parameters. When we're using the hashtag selector, we don't put the parens on that. And so we'll be seeing how we use this in more complex apps later on. But this is how I identify what method I'm going to be using and what parameters, if any, that I'll be sending to that method as well. And then for I'm adding that target for touch up inside. Touch up inside is how I actually say, oh, click the button. Say, click and release. I touched up on the inside. And again, I now click on this, the preview, I've got my touch-up inside. No, still nothing happening, no big deal. Now, I have that current view. I'm going to set its background colored purple, so let's preview that. Boom! I've now got a purple view. It's amazing. And then I can call October3rd.change. Okay, great, boom. So now I've got my values right there. Wonderful, no big deal. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that current view, add subview, sample button. So current view to add view sample button. I'm going to go ahead and click on the preview for this, boom. And there's my button right here, but I can't click on it. That's not fair. So what I need to do is I need to go ahead and add some extra code for this. And so I have some code that's coming out right here. I'm going to comment out in before I run it so we can actually see what we're talking about first. And we have the playground page.current.liveView equals current view. So this current view right here that I just created, that view that I'm linking right here, this is the UI view I just made, and I'm assigning that view to be the current view of my playground page. I'm then going to tell that current view if it needs indefinite execution to be true, aka keep listening, keep running. Until I close you, I want you to keep trying to do stuff. And finally, the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make it so it's my sample, but I'm going to set the title for October 3rd pick string for normal. So I'm going to change the title so we can actually see a live impact. So we're going to do these first two things first. We'll uncomment these two lines. So command whack, and I'll go ahead and save that and run. And I hit play. And I've got my button. Wait, but nothing's happening. Oh, I have to actually go through and not use the preview feature that I've been doing right here. No, what I need to do is I need to go up to my assistant editor, the thing we use all the time inside a regular GUI ed, and I'm going to click on that and show it up and watch what happens. Over here in the assistant editor, I now have a live version of my code that's interactive. As you can see, it says click here. I click on it, and I have my lovely random values. We should totally just stab Caesar. That is so fetch. Get in the car, loser. We're going shopping. Again, we're celebrating Mean Girls by looking how to do some cool code and have some great color right here. Totally just stab Caesar. Totally stab Caesar. Yeah, I guess we need to stab Caesar a few times. That's okay. And we're going to continue stabbing Caesar. And then that is so fetch. Fetch is going to happen this time. We've got this. Because we're just randomly getting a value now between 0, 1, or 2, and then based on that value, we grab that from pickstring. Now, not only do we have the ability to print on that from interaction with this, we also have the ability to go down here, and I can get a reaction from this and get that title attached to this. So I click on here, boom, reload my thing, and now it's now getting the car loser, we're going shopping. Click on that, and again, we're still randomly grabbing those values out of that. It's amazing. I can even have this redo that same line again a second time. We could print something out and get access to that. So again, just as a quick review of what we're going to do, we can use Playgrounds to do a demo of our GUI code, actual interacting with our code right here inside Playgrounds to demo out some quick functionality of our code. We have the ability, of course, to use the quick preview as well as the expand out and look at what's inside it with this inside the square and the eye icons. And then if I close my assistant editor right here, I can go through and look at more detail at my code, again using a quick little class. We use the @object_c identifier so we can make something be linked to the code. We use that so we can specify right here with the hashtag selector, and then we do the instance of the class, dot, and the method, but no parens because it's a parameterless method. And if we actually were to pass parameters, we identify that a little bit differently than normal. But this hashtag selector requires us to use, again, that @object_c identifier right here for it to be an actual class for that. And so we can use Playgrounds not only to do quick little demos of just sample code right here, going and doing preview stuff over here in the preview pane or output to the console, but we can also use the Playgrounds to full-fledged GUI code, linking a GUI to objects and doing object relationships right here where I have a public class that I link to. I attach that class to an instance of a button and then click on the button and things happen. So we can do some really cool practice code with this. And again, every time it happens, we see the fact that this code is executing, and we can keep track of the executions of our code right here in our preview pane. We can do amazing things with Playgrounds and have some great learning experiences. So thanks again and have a great day.